In the instant of getting an idea, I go act it out on paper. I don't put it away. I don't delay. I don't put off to tomorrow doing what I must do right now to find out what my secret self needs, wants, desires with all its heart. And then it speaks, and I have enough brains to get out of the way and listen.
Hi, this is Hiram Sims coming to you live from the Sims Library of Poetry. Today we are profiling Ray Bradbury, who wrote over 1,000 short stories, novels, screenplays, but also wrote some really great poetry. He's considered the godfather of American fantasy and science fiction. These are Ray Bradbury's top rules for writers. Enjoy.
I've had a sign over my typewriter for 25 years now, which reads, "Don't think. You must never think at the typewriter. You must feel." And then your intellect is always buried in that feeling anyway. You collect up a lot of data. You do a lot of thinking away from your typewriter. But at the typewriter, you should be living. It should be a living experience, just as when I'm here with you, speaking to you, you're popping all sorts of questions at me. I don't have time to think about them. I can react to them. I try to say things that are meaningful in reaction to them. If I stopped and thought too long, both of us fall asleep. And that can happen at the typewriter, too. And the worst thing you do when you think is lie. You can make up reasons that are not true for the things that you did. And what you're trying to do as a creative person is surprise yourself. Find out who you really are. And try not to lie. Try to tell the truth all the time. And the only way to do this is by being very active and very emotional. And get it out of yourself. And making lists of things that you hate and things that you love. And you write about these then, intensely. And when it's over, then you can think about it. Then you can look at it, well, it works or it doesn't work. Something's missing here. And then if something is missing, you go back and re-emotionalize that so it's all of a piece. But thinking is to be a corrective in our life. It's not supposed to be the center of our life. Living is supposed to be the center of our life. Being is supposed to be the center, with correctives around, which hold us like the skin holds our blood and our flesh in. But our skin is not our way of life. The way of our living is the blood pumping through our veins, the ability to sense and to feel and to know. And the intellect doesn't really help you very much there. You should get on with the business of living.
I was 7 years old when I went to the library for the first time. And that was a great adventure. But along the way, when I was 6 years old, I traveled from Illinois out to Tucson, Arizona. As I traveled with my family, the first thing I did when I jumped out of the car at night to go to a motel to sleep, I ran to the library, accompanied by October leaves blowing with me all along the way. And I was hoping to find books about the Land of Oz by L. Frank Baum and Tarzan by Edgar Rice Burroughs, or if they had books on magic. And I'd open the door of the library and I'd look in, and all those people were waiting for me in there. You see, libraries is people. It's not books. People are waiting in there. Thousands of people who wrote the books. So it's much more personal than just the book. So when you open a book, the person pops out.
In the instant of getting an idea, I go act it out on paper. I don't put it away. I don't delay. I don't put off to tomorrow doing what I must do right now to find out what my secret self needs, wants, desires with all its heart. And then it speaks, and I have enough brains to get out of the way and listen.
I fell in love with radio, of course, along the way, too. I've had so many loves in all of the arts, thank God, including movies. But when I arrived in Tucson, I was doing a lot of little theater work in the 7th grade and got the lead in a play. And then based on that, I said to my friends, oh, heck, I'm going to go into radio. I love radio, and I'm going to get me a job there, and in 3 weeks from tonight, you're going to hear me on radio. Well, I didn't know anyone at the local radio station, but I went down and hung around the station and emptied the ashtrays and ran out for cigarettes and bought magazines for people when they ordered me to do so, and I got underfoot. And after a while, I was not only underfoot, but I wound up reading the comics to the kiddies every Saturday night on that station 3 weeks later. So I discovered early on, if you wanted a thing, you went for it, and you got it. And most people don't ever go anywhere or want anything, so they never get anything. If you can't resist, if the typewriter is like candy to you, you train yourself for a lifetime, every single day of your life, some wild new thing to be done. You're right to please yourself. You're right for the joy of writing. And then your public reads you, and it begins to gather around your selling a potato peeler in an alley, you know. The enthusiasm, the joy itself draws me. So that means every day of my life I've written. When the joy stops, I'll stop writing.
When I was 12 years old, I looked at the hair on the back of my hand, and I said, my God, I'm alive. Why didn't someone tell me that I was alive? A month later, a carnival man came along at a carnival down by the lakefront, and he sat in an electric chair. He had a sword full of fire. He saw me in the audience. He pointed his sword at me and touched me on the end of my nose and said, live forever, live forever. Why he said that, I don't know. But I went down for a meeting with him the next day because I wanted to say, how can I live forever? And he took me in a tent to show me all the freaks. And I met inside the tent the illustrated man. Isn't that wonderful? I met the illustrated man when I was 12. And I realized he'd given me a gift of some sort. I knew that my life had changed. And I went home. And when I got there, they gave me a toy typewriter. I wrote my first story. I became a writer because that period of a few days, I discovered I was alive. I discovered maybe I could live forever if I became a writer. So I've written every day since that day I arrived in Tucson, Arizona. In the last 75 years, I've never stopped writing.
I've made the point on many occasions that the only thing you're ever going to own in your life is your work. I own my books. The farmer who farms creatively and happily is a man that knows every stalk of wheat or corn that comes up on his land because he has tilled these fields.
I've always claimed that the ability to fantasize is the ability to survive, and the ability to fantasize is the ability to grow. Boys and girls at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, right on up through, the most important time of their day, or especially at night before going to sleep, is dreaming themselves into becoming something, into being something. So when you're a child, you begin to dream yourself into a shape. And then you run into the future and try to become that shape. And when I was 10, 11, 12, I began to dream of becoming a writer. And the rest of my life has been the real task of shaping myself to that boyhood thing.
Remember this, love is at the center of your life. The things that you do should be things that you love. And things that you love should be things that you do. So that's what you learn from books. I learned to read when I was 3 years old. I loved comic strips. I loved the cartoons on Sunday. And I got a book of fairy tales when I was 5 years old. And I fell in love with reading all these wonderful stories like Beauty and the Beast and Jack and the Beanstalk. So I began with fantasy. And by the time I was 3 years old, I saw my first movie and I fell in love with the motion pictures. I saw The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I hoped to grow up to be a hunchback. And then when I was 5, I saw The Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney. I became infatuated with Lon Chaney. And when I was 6, I saw a film on dinosaurs, and dinosaurs filled my life. And by the age of 6, I began to read about dinosaurs. And they affected my whole life and wound up with me getting the work on Moby Dick when I was 33 years old because I fell in love with dinosaurs when I was 6.
Thank you all for watching Ray Bradbury's Top Rules for Writers. Please leave a comment in the comments section and also subscribe. In the comments section, let us know which tip connected with you the most. And you can also visit communitylit.org to find out more about our writing classes. And you can visit simslibraryofpoetry.org to find out more about our wonderful library. Thank you for watching.